A very good evening to you tuned in to UBC TV. We welcome you warmly to UBC News tonight. Let's start with a look at the top stories. President Museveni stops traditional healers, herbalists and others from treating Ebola patients. Senior 4 UNEB exams begin this Friday. JEMA, People's Progressive Party, in a coalition talks with NRM. While Makerere University marks 100 years of Julius Nyerere. Yes, it is Thursday, the 13th of October 2022. My name is Michael Jordan Lukomwa. I'm joined by Muhammad Mugaru, our sign language interpreter. Now, in a first story, the head of state has warned traditional healers and herbalists against promising people infected with Ebola miraculous healing. The president was updating the nation in a televised address on the recent Ebola outbreak of Sudan strain that hit the country. We have details to this report.
President Yoweri Museveni has warned traditional healers and herbalists against handling patients during times of epidemics like the current Ebola outbreak.
While people may be using the traditional healers and the traditional healers may be accepting customers in normal times, I think we should put it in the law that when the government announces an epidemic, then the traditional healers should stop receiving customers in their clinics and wait for the all clear to be announced.
The president was updating the country on the Ebola outbreak in a televised address. The president wants the public to quickly report any suspected Ebola cases to authorities for safe transportation to the health facilities.
This disease is survivable because I was told by the, you know me, I like interrogating each situation. I was told that this disease kills mainly by high temperature. That high temperature, the body is not supposed to operate at high temperatures. So if you have got very high temperature for a long time, then the organs are damaged. That's how it kills, I'm told. So I think what the doctors do when you go to hospital, they control the temperature. Then it kills also by losing body fluids, amazi okugwamu mu mubiri, by vomiting and diarrhea also, maybe sweating also. So when you have those, you have high temperature, you have dehydration, what they call dehydration, losing fluids, either through vomiting, through diarrhea, through sweating, and they are not being replaced. I hear that that's what damaging is. Is there anything else that damages the virus is also multiply? Let's hear the minister.
Excellency, eventually, because the fluid volume is low, the blood supply to the major organs is impaired, especially the kidneys and the liver, and then you go into hypovolemic shock. But because of low blood supply, the organs also get damaged.
So the blood supply is improved by the fluids.
Yes, Excellency.
So therefore, although the interventions in the hospital do not kill the virus directly, but by stopping the lowering the temperature and by replacing the fluids you lose, it helps the body to remain able to fight. And the body can fight and win.
The Ebola virus disease was first declared in Mubende district on the 20th of September 2022 and has now spread to other districts that include Chegegwa, Kasanda, Kagadi, and Bunyangabo. However, there are districts that are categorized as very high risk.
Category 1, very high risk, are Mubende, Kasanda, Chegegwa, Kagadi, Bunyangabo. Category 2, high risk, not very high risk, but high risk. 20 districts surrounding Mbende plus Kampala and Wakiso. Kampala and Wakiso are included in this category because of population movement, trade, and social services.
As of 12th October 2022, there are 54 total confirmed cases, 19 deaths, and 20 recoveries, including 5 health workers. Joshua Kagoro, Adia Nakuti, UBC News.
President Yoweri Museveni has urged Ugandans to adhere to standard operating procedures to curb the spread of the Ebola virus. This was during a televised broadcast on government preparedness on curbing the virus.
President Yoweri Museveni has urged the public to stop embracing, handshaking, but respect the measures put in place to avoid the spread of Ebola virus disease.
Meanwhile, stop shaking hands. Recently we had celebrations here. We got many visitors from outside, important people. I put out an order, no shaking of hands. You saw us at Kororo. No, there's no president whose hand I shook. When Corona was starting, the Archbishop of Canterbury came here, and I said, please, no shaking of hands. They were saying that I would get a blessing from the Archbishop if he shakes my hand. I said, no, the blessing can go through air. You just in the Bible, the 10 lepers, when they met Jesus, it is said in the book where it is the parable, the story is told. They stood far and shouted, Lord, have mercy on us, and shouted. Because you can imagine 2,000 years ago, people knew public health, preventing spread of disease by social distancing. He didn't have to touch them that miracle healing, you know.
Our cameras turn to some streets, institutions like the church, where we expect gatherings that will definitely embrace each other, as well as school life where students at some point will have to interact, play, attend class, especially now that some of them are doing midterm exams and others set to do mock exams.
We've put measures in place to make sure the children and the staff are safe. It hasn't taken us by surprise because already we had put mechanism in place to make sure the children don't get COVID. So we have enough liquid soap, we have enough jik, and our children wash hands, and we are careful who enters the school. And of course we've done sensitization. Our health team, we have a doctor and nurses. They are on a lookout. Whoever feels not fine, they really check and get to know they are okay.
Hand washing points were already put up. Sanitizing systems were witnessed. Other institutions we managed to visit, like the Ebenezer Primary School and the St. Stephen's Church, Kisugu.
We are scared. We are fearing it shouldn't escalate and they close the schools Because when you look at the children who have missed 2 years, we are struggling. They have content gaps. We are trying to bridge that up. Now, if again they close us because of Ebola, I really don't know the destiny and the destinies and the future of these children. Otherwise, we are praying that it shouldn't go to that level, and we are trying our level best to make sure we are safe.
The public should avoid contact with symptomatic patients, their bodily fluids, avoid consumption of bushmeat and contact with wild animals, both alive and dead. Wash and peel fruit and vegetables before consumption. Wash hands regularly using soap or antiseptics. Ensure safe sexual practices. Sandra Kahunde, UBC News.
Mr. Robin Nabanja has urged women in top positions to respect subjects and remain humble while handling the less privileged people from all walks of life. Nabanja was officiating a 3-day Regional Women Forum retreat in Entebbe.
I saw myself on the border, but did that stop me from being Prime Minister? I thank the organizers for choosing to bring this retreat to Uganda. This is an important vote of confidence in our country, and we don't take it for granted. Uganda is your home, away from home. Friends, as women leaders, we have a very heavy responsibility to provide an example to the younger generation, to show them that with determination and focus, nothing is impossible. This retreat has come at a time when there is great need for the regional integration and strengthening of the women movement across the region. Uganda, anything to do with women empowerment is our priority here in this country. Our president, the one you know, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, Tibuhaburwa, and the NRM government have consistently supported and promoted the empowerment of women through institutional, policy, legal, and political related measures.
Our Honorable President Seven has tried to promote the agenda of women to a greater extent. So we've come to Uganda as a home of promotion of women agenda, but also the promotion of right of women and children in the region. And we are here for 3 days trying to come up with a strategic plan. So the next thing, the strategic plan is going to be born in Uganda again, while Uganda is the one which initiated the Regional Women Forum when the Regional Women Forum started. And they're the one who brought the women, the first ladies from 12 member states in Mnyonyo to come and promote for the Kampala Declaration. So we're coming back as Uganda as a country which has been a champion in promoting women Regional Women Forum.
You know, in case of any problem, in case of any instability, it is the women and children who suffer most. So it is incumbent upon us, as we agreed to work together, the 12 member states, we've come together to strategize on how we can use the Regional Women's Forum to promote peace and security in the region, which I think is very vital. It is going to help us and help the women that we lead. And the coming of the Regional Women's Forum in Uganda cannot be taken for granted. They came here to benchmark. They see how Uganda does its activities.
Let's go for that.
News tonight. The Director NRM Mobilization, Rosemary Seninde, has confirmed the party receiving letters from Justice Forum and the People's Progressive Party asking for a coalition with the NRM party. Seninde, however, requested those who want to join the party to focus on improvement of the welfare of the people they serve and not to be exempted from the party. She made the remarks at the NRM Secretariat while receiving Kenneth Eitunganane, a former member of parliament from Soroti County, and Caxton Eti from the UPC party, who had defected to the NRM.
Resistance Movement Secretariat has received into the NRM party Kenneth Eitunganani, a former member of parliament for Soroti County, and Caxton Eti from Uganda People's Congress. The NRM Secretary General Richard Todong said the beauty of NRM party is that it does not discriminate and welcomes all to join.
As you all know, we have signed an MOU with the Democratic Party. UPC has expressed interest, and other parties are also in negotiation to see that we work together with them. So all these are good signs that we seem to be providing good leadership that everybody is looking up to. We are also reaching out to NUP and FDC. We are not leaving them out. We are reaching out so that they see the bigger picture than every time quarreling like we are children. Ugandans are looking up upon us as leaders to provide guidance, to provide leadership.
Todwong and Rosemary Seninde officially welcomed the members to the NRM party organization and opted for the official welcome to be done from their areas.
And I thank the Director of Mobilization at the party secretariat for coordinating all this. And very soon we shall launch these programs and we move around the country to receive other members who are willing to join the NRM party.
The two were given an NRM shirt, constitution, and the organization's manifesto, among others. The Director NRM Mobilization, Rosemary Seninde, confirmed the organization receiving letters from Justice Forum and People's Progressive Party requesting for a coalition.
And of course, the buses door is always open. It receives, it appreciates and welcomes everybody who comes in, as we also don't stop anyone who wants to get out. So if there are some members, like people from JEMA, like even FDC, NOP, we have had all those who want to join the NRM. If they want to come and join NRM, we don't stop them, but it is important for us to appreciate their expectations. Because we have seen some members who may say we want to join NRM and their expectation is to be given money. I want to make it clear that money is not there.
She attributed the increasing number of people who want to join the NRM party to the organization's pillars and is a party with visible programs.
My desire is to see socio-economic transformation of the people.
The core values of patriotism, Pan-Africanism, socio-economic transformation and democracy are very, very strong values that I feel I need to belong to, and I can only do that when I'm in the NRM party.
Sudat Kaye, UBC News.
The Uganda National Examinations Board has issued guidelines ahead of the Uganda Certificate of Examination exercise that starts this Friday on the 14th of October 2022 with briefing of candidates. The Universal Secondary Education Program has posted a total of 114,200 candidates, while 235,245 candidates are non-USA. For a successful exercise, head teachers have been tasked to be at the forefront of every step, starting with the briefing of the candidates.
Senior 4 candidates gear up for their Uganda Certificate of Education final examinations. The Uganda National Examinations Board has rolled out strict guidelines emphasizing joint collaboration of stakeholders for a successful exercise. Candidates will on Friday 14th October 2022 be briefed on the rules and regulations for a successful examination period. Citing inadequate and at times absence of briefing of candidates as a major factor that breeds examination malpractices, UNEB has now tasked head teachers to individually be in charge.
It's a very important exercise which must be conducted by the head teachers themselves and not delegated to deputies or directors of studies. The head teachers must explain very clearly to the candidates the consequences of their not following these regulations, and if they don't adhere to these regulations, and cheating in the examination. We also wish to encourage parents, those parents who can, to attend these briefings as well.
At least 349,000 445 candidates are expected to write this year's UCE examinations at 3,703 examination centers across the country.
A total of 175,923 or 50.3% are male, and the other 49.7% or 173,522 are female. The numbers of males and females at this level are almost at par, with the males being just slightly above with a 0.3%.
Of these, 519 candidates belong to the special needs education category.
The board, as usual, has made access arrangements to enable these candidates to be able to take their examination. For example, the blind will have their braille facilities, the deaf will be provided with sign language interpreters, the physically handicapped will be given also assistance, the dyslexics and those who are not able to write will have transcribers given to them, and those that have low vision will have their scripts, their question papers enlarged. All these candidates, on top of these access arrangements, will also be provided with 45 minutes extra for every paper that they will take.
Schools and candidates in particular have been warned against involving in any form of examination malpractice. The UNEB Executive Director, Dan Nokrach Odong, reveals that the recently repealed UNEB Act does not spare those duping schools and candidates with either genuine or fake examinations.
We are aware of people who around this time begin to run around purporting that they have examinations and duping the unsuspecting members of the public, including the candidates themselves, to buy these materials. So when arrested, this fine or these penalties will apply whether or not what they are running around with is genuine.
Uganda recently registered cases of Ebola virus disease soon after the devastating effects of coronavirus disease. To safeguard candidates and everyone, UNEB advises schools to strictly adhere to the SOPs at all costs. UNEB also requests school managements and parents to agree on workable methodologies instead of denying learners their lifetime opportunity.
We would like to discourage this completely. Once candidates are in the examination room, I want to ask heads of centers, please do not interfere with the conduct of the examination by entering this examination room and pulling out those candidates whom you say have not paid fees.
This year's Uganda National Examinations are to be conducted under the theme Integrity and Security in the Management of Examinations. The health and safety of learners is a joint responsibility. Dorcas Kimono, UBC News.
Food remains a global basic human right, which in Uganda is constrained by the rise in food prices and intensity of climate change shocks. This underscores the need for a national plan to address food crisis, a reason why Ministry of Agriculture is due to submit a supplementary budget. Third Deputy Prime Minister Rukia Nakadama was speaking during the opening of the high-level dialogue of the World Food Day celebrations at the office of the Prime Minister.
That we may produce better, we may have a better environment, we have better nutrition, and we live a better life without leaving anyone behind.
What started as a prayer from a food rights advocate culminated into a serious conversation. Stakeholders in the food security faction were here to exchange ideas. The state of accessibility to food, as well as nutrition, was top on the agenda.
How effective are we with our food system as a country? Because as many have too much or plenty, Others are starving.
Climate change as an imported shock did not miss out in the deliberations. In a country largely dependent on rain-fed agriculture, characterized by prolonged droughts and unpredictable rains, they want to see serious interventions.
We used to know when rain would come. We used to know when rain would stop. But as we talk, on top of having prolonged drought, we are not able to know when rain would come. We cannot predict it.
It is reported that 30% of Karamoja sub-region in northeastern Uganda suffers acute food insecurity. The remaining 70% have varying degrees of food insecurity. This is why the country needs to be prepared, a reason why government is on board.
That in that part of the country, food security is a dream now. And this situation is almost similar in other parts of the eastern Uganda and the northern parts of the country.
The government of the Republic of Uganda, under the wise leadership of His Excellency the President, General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, has approved the Agriculture Ministry's plan for responding to the looming food crisis in the country, giving the ministry a green light to submit supplementary budget.
Uganda is endowed with 22% of water out of the total country's landmass. This is why there is need to invest in agricultural mechanization and irrigation to address food crisis-related challenges.
Relevant government officials will implement the response plan, including providing agricultural machinery, seeds, fertilizers, and equipment for irrigation.
We can do agriculture all year long, and irrigation is a must. I'm talking about irrigation, but I will stress efficiency in irrigation.
The status of food-secure households in Uganda has increased by 9.3%. That is from 69% in financial year 2018-2019 to 78.7% in 2020-2021 financial year. Whereas this is above the 75.2% target of the third National Development Plan, a number of families are still faced with starvation, which requires interventions. Henry Okrut, UBC.
Families facing starvation, which needs intervention. Henry Okrut with that. Makerere University has marked 100 years of Julius Nyerere as part of their 100-year celebrations. The symposium that attracted Pan-Africanists from 8 African countries focused on Julius Nyerere's legacy and what the young Africans can learn from the fallen leader.
As part of Makerere University's centenary celebrations, the institution has honored one of its outstanding alumni, Julius Kambarage Nyerere, who would be 100 years this year. Makerere University's Vice-Chancellor Professor Barnabas Nawangwe, in his remarks, said Nyerere contributed greatly to the intellectual development of the university.
So it is an important event for us to celebrate one of our most prominent alumni, the first African Chancellor of our university. When we were still the University of East Africa, he was the first African to be a Chancellor, and also one of the very first to graduate out of the university when it had become a university college of the University of London.
Professor Eddie Maloka from South Africa, who was also a keynote speaker, noted that there is need for African leaders to emulate Nyerere's legacy and his nationalistic approach in order to arrest the existing challenges that Africa is facing, ranging from instabilities to integration.
Therefore, we say, long live Mwalimu Nyerere. You may not be with us in person today, but you are always in our thoughts as a teacher, a role model, an inspiration, and as a leader who stood for justice and lived by the principles that you taught all of us, your generation, and those of us whose lives you have touched through your writings and indeed through the rich life you live.
The Tanzanian ambassador to Uganda, Azizi Mlima Ponari, applauded the institution for Nyerere's centenary celebrations and challenged the youth to take lead in championing Pan-Africanism and mind liberation, who he says are the future of the African continent.
And we need to have research, innovation, and technology independence. And once we do that, we may be able to achieve the economic independence and then later financial independence. Because Africa, without being able to invest in science and technology and innovation, will always be dependent on technology and everything else coming from abroad. And therefore, the challenge to the young generation is to work very hard in science, technology.
A Makerere University political science lecturer, Dr. Lumumba Bwire, says that African leaders ought to draw lessons from the fallen Pan-Africanists like Nyerere and adopt a selfless life for successful leadership.
Nyerere was an honest Christian. He did not steal anything. He was a very honest Christian. Only that he had wrong policies. That's what prevented Tanzania from developing. We have a leadership crisis. So what we want in the African continent, we want in the Nyereres of this world with the right policies.
Some of the participants highlighted on the lessons learned during the 100-year symposium.
Student of Makerere University, but also the president of Tanzanian students in Uganda. Today it has been a good day for us. We are celebrating the symposium, actually the 100 years of Mwalimu Nyerere, but also the 100 years of Makerere University.
It's significant because Makerere is celebrating 100 years, and one of its most famous alumnus, who is Nyerere, would have been also 100 years this year.
As Makerere University marks its 100 years, today is also a day that Makerere University celebrates its icon, not just a teacher who taught on this great university, but as a politician and an activist who contributed tremendously to the liberation of different countries in Africa. Saddam Mubale, UBC News, Kampala.
Government, through Ministry of Health, has rolled out indoor residue spraying in 13 high-burden districts of West Nile and Lango sub-region. The Director General Health Services at the Ministry of Health, Dr. Henry Mwebesa, says that the exercise will begin in November this very year, 2022.
Uganda has one of the highest malaria cases, with over 90% of the population at risk. The burden is even higher in the West Nile region, where 24% have acquired malaria. Government, through the Ministry of Health, have now made interventions aimed at reducing the burden of malaria in Lango and West Nile regions.
They are going to spray in 13 districts, 9 in Lango region, 9 in West Nile, 4 in Lango region. So we are dispatching these items to the districts because the district teams which will do the spraying with support from our malaria control program here.
Dr. Mwebesa says spraying will be done on the walls, doors, ceiling, among others, because it is there that the mosquitoes rest. Residents will be required to step out for at least 2 hours after spraying.
They reside indoors and they rest on the walls. They rest on our curtains, they rest on ceilings and other surfaces inside, just before they bite human beings. So when we spray the rooms or the houses, when a mosquito comes in contact with the sprayed surface, it absorbs this little insecticide, thus killing it.
The chemical to be used has been tested by the World Health Organization and Uganda National Bureau of Standards and approved for effective and safe to human health.
We are using a chemical called Fudorafusone. It's a safe chemical when professionally handled. It has been already passed by the World Health Organization, by the National Drug Authority and NEMA. We are going to fully protect the people who are going to apply it. They will wear coveralls, they will wear head and face shields, long gloves like this, you can see up to them.
The chemical will be dispatched together with other logistics, which include insecticide, gumboots, face shields, long and short gloves, among others. Mary Namkose, Adiana Kuti, UBC News.
The Constitutional Court is to deliver its ruling on notice in the case Initiative for Social and Economic Rights filed against the Attorney General challenging a series of agreements signed between the government and the FENASI/ROCO to construct a Lubowa Specialized Hospital. Meanwhile, court has ordered Professor George Wilson Kanyihamba to prove to court that he served the National Resistance Movement and President Museveni with the case of not granting bail to capital offenders and the sentence of life imprisonment.
Rights as civil society organization. Initiative for Social and Economic Rights as civil society organization in this matter is before the Constitutional Court. Initiative for Social and Economic Rights is challenging a series of agreements signed by government and FENASI to construct Lubowa Specialized Hospital. Although Parliament approved 1.4 trillion to finance and local limited to construct the hospital, procedures leading to the approval of the money was allegedly illegal.
If you look at it, this infrastructure is a PPP, a public-private partnership project. Now this means that you have a private developer that is working with government, which is going to provide the land on which the project will be developed, but at the same time it will provide guarantee for the developer. So what this means then is that the petition questions the agreements that led to this process.
And all Ugandans, you know fully well that this hospital, this proposed deal, is not going to help ordinary Ugandans. You're spending close to 1.4 trillion. Meanwhile, this whole process, there was illegalities from the start, and it has just been ridden with scandal after scandal.
In court, both parties have adopted the written submissions for court to rely on in delivering its judgment, which will be delivered on notice. The petitioners' Initiative for Social and Economic Rights wants court to declare these agreements null and void, since they aim at causing financial loss to the government and the taxpayers.
You people, if there was a hospital, if there was something, you would see it. So their constant excuse has been the rains of Lubowa during COVID. But I'm asking, was that the only spot in Uganda where it rained?
Constitution is the supreme law. If you attempt to validate, because there's no other provision that allows Parliament to validate or to retrospectively, approve these agreements.
The prayers were, however, objected to by the Attorney General, saying the whole process was legal. Still in the same court, the court has also tasked Emeritus Justice Professor George Wilson Kanyihamba to prove that he served the respondents' National Resistance Movement and President Museveni with his petition. In this case, Professor George Wilson Kanyihamba is opposing President's proposal of not granting bail to capital offense offenders and a sentence of life imprisonment.
Judges have been very kind to us, and I think without saying so, they realize our last service was sabotage. So they have only given us, which I am happy with. Even today we can prove we served.
Professor George Wilson Kanyihamba says the intended actions of the respondents infringes on the rights of the accused. As per the Constitution, Professor Kanyihamba filed this case with Nyabuyanda John Solomon, Bossa Edwin Price, Wavamuno Alex, Asimwe Ronald William, and Senyunga Simon. The cases are before Justice Frederick Egona Antende, Elizabeth Musoke, Christopher Madrama, Monica Mujenyi, and Justice Christopher Gashirabake. Deborah Namamonde, UBC News.
Vimba ni MTN Kabode Super as you pay mpola for this smartphone. Make calls, update your WhatsApp status, watch YouTube, and Google anything under the sun with 2 GB worth of data every month for 7 months. Simply make a small deposit of 99k and pay the balance mpola. You can pay in daily, weekly, or even monthly installments while you enjoy your new phone. So what are you doing today? Visit any MTN shop near you and get the MTN Kabode Super easy.
Do you need data collection services, data analysis and reporting, monitoring and evaluation systems? Then contact Mold Technologies, a professional research firm that has provided many organizations with timely research solutions for over 15 years. For more information, visit www.mt.co.ug or call us on 0704 913 399 or 0782 602 963. Visit our office in Kampala at Sayuni Complex in Tinda. Mold Technologies, your professional research firm.
At Timex Nutrition Center, we advise you on the right foods to eat, exercise profile to adopt, and lifestyle strategies which are compatible to your blood group and genotype. This empowers your body to prevent and treat many diseases like diabetes, blood pressure, arthritis, ulcers, obesity, and many others. For more information, find us at our head office in Kampala on Nassa Road, Conrad Plaza, 2nd floor, or call 0758 819 952 or 0778 288 361. We also have other branches in Bara and Jinja.
Be alert! Do not share your Airtel Money PIN number with anyone. Airtel Uganda employees will never ask for your Airtel Money PIN number on call, SMS, or by email. All SIM card registrations, SIM card verifications, or SIM swaps are done at clearly branded Airtel shops and not on phone. To report any fraudulent activity, please call 100 immediately. The official calling number for Airtel promotions is 0200 100 100. Stay alert on Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
Our wetlands are being lost at a very alarming rate. Wetlands have become the most threatened ecosystem 3 times faster than the forest. With 35% loss globally since 1970, a quarter of wetland-dependent species are near extinction. This is a very serious loss to our economy and natural resource-based country. The government of Uganda is determined to reverse this trend. Therefore, my ministry calls upon fellow Ugandans to contribute to the conservation and sustainable use of the limited resources. Ugandans, stop cultivating, putting up buildings, and dumping in the wetlands.
This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Water and Environment, Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, Uganda National Meteorological Authority, with support from Government of Uganda, Green Climate Fund, and the United Nations Development Programme.
So, I'm here to announce that the MTN Kampala Marathon is back. And this year, we are running for babies. To be clear, I am not talking about a baby. No. And neither am I talking about to be baby. I am talking about these small dollars.
Run for babies in the MTN Kampala Marathon on Sunday, 20th November 2022. Dial star 165 star 77 hash or use the Momo app to register.
UBC News Tonight. Thank you so much for watching and welcome back from the break. The International War Crimes Division Court has declined to grant an application to Mohammed Segirinya and Alan Sewanyana seeking to transfer the application to the Constitutional Review. Lady Justice Alice Komhanji dismissed the application.
Legislators Mohammed Segirinya and Alan Sewanyana for Kawempe North and Machinde West respectively have had their application for a constitutional review denied. Lady Justice Alice Komhanji gave a verdict and said that since Uganda is a signatory to the Rome Statute and the rules governing the International War Crimes Court, it's duty-bound to abide by its standards.
The rules are in line with the interpretation of the Constitutional Court on the right to a fair hearing as enshrined in Article 28 of the Constitution and disclosure. In light of the above, therefore, I find that questions 1 and 2, as raised by counsel for the accused person, do not call for constitutional interpretation because the Constitutional Court already pronounced itself on the same in the case of Suni. I therefore decline to refer the two questions to the Constitutional Court for interpretation.
Justice Komhanji also said that since the Masaka file contains only the legislators and the one Wilson Senyonga case, their issue does not require any constitutional review.
Bringing A3 to the case before us with the accused person is not connected to in any way and for charges is unaware of would be a misjoinder of persons. In light of the above, therefore, it is clear that the persons in the charge sheet of Rengo CRB 203 of 2021 cannot be safely joined on the charge sheet of Masaka CRB 605 of 2021.
After receiving the ruling, the legislators' legal team were, however, not happy with the verdict, explaining that it will infringe on the accused's constitutional rights.
We have received this decision. We shall respect it to the extent that this court has the discretion. We are going to look into whether it exercised that discretion in denying us the opportunity to go before the Constitutional Court, whether it exercised it judiciously.
But also, we are seeing a problem with this decision because it is not only going to affect Segirinya and Alan, but these are precedents that are set by courts of judicature that any other ordinary Ugandan, when he or she walks into this court the next day, she will be denied a constitutional reference basing on such a decision.
Protection of witnesses is allowed, but how would you stop Alan Sewanyana and Segirinya to see those who are choosing them in court? That they were participatory, they saw the killing, but you are stopping them. We are going to spend years here. This is the judge is going to take us more time, and we shall give other issues in the case.
Court will resume on 7th November 2022 for further pre-trial of the matter. Legislators Mohammed Segirinya, Alan Sewanyana and the other 5 co-accused are facing charges of murder, attempted murder, abetting terrorism and terrorism, which offences prosecution asserts that were committed in Greater Masaka. Deborah Nama Monde, Natongo Rebecca, UBC News.
Get connected today with the My Airtel 4G smartphone, the most affordable smartphone in Uganda. You get to enjoy free 1 GB for 1 whole year. My Airtel 4G smartphone, your best value for money. Visit the nearest Airtel outlet today and get one at only 250,000 Uganda shillings. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Do you need data collection services, data analysis and reporting, monitoring and evaluation systems? Then contact Molt Technologies, a professional research firm that has provided many organizations with timely research solutions for over 15 years. For more information, visit www.mt.co.ug or call us on 0704 913 399 or 0782 602 963. Visit our office in Kampala at Sayuni Complex in don't hinder. Mood Technologies, your professional research firm.
The Electricity Regulatory Authority has commissioned the Electricity Consumer Protection and Installation Permit Committee Service Center. Located on Shimoni Road in Nakasero suburb, the center is to work as a point of interface between ERA, electricity consumers, and installation wire persons.
The service center established by the Electricity Regulatory Authority is mandated to handle complaints made by electricity consumers concerning electricity services provided by licensed electricity companies.
As ERA, we are excited to establish the Consumer Protection and Installation Permit Center, which among others aims at protecting the interests of electricity consumers and focus on growing the number of certified electricians in order to effectively support government programs of accelerating access to clean energy across the country.
Similarly, the center is to intensify the supervision of licensed companies and extend its services closer to the consumers.
So this is a critical moment. We are seeing a very stable journey that we have moved since 1954 to date, where we are talking about more than 1,360 megawatts as installed capacity. And we are expecting to go to 2,000. If 600 megawatts come on board, we are quickly going to 2,000. So it will be very challenging to talk about that capacity. And consumption at peak remains at 800 megawatts.
In addition to consumer protection and installation permit services, Electricity Regulatory Authority House will be utilized for regional cooperation, coordination, research and innovation.
It will also be a point of interface between the IPC and the installation wire persons and ERA. The IPC is a committee of ERA established by statutory instrument to, among others, regulate the activities of the installation wire persons and issue installation permits.
Uganda has in the recent years registered major milestones in the electricity supply industry, and with this new initiative, the regulator is determined to facilitate the rapid implementation of government's social and economic transformation programs. Dennis Igor for UBC News.
Toyota Buffaloes are set to host the finals of the National Rugby Sevens circuit at Chadondo Rugby Grounds this weekend. The two-day competition will have 16 teams competing for the final show of the circuit that has traversed different parts of the country. Toyota Buffaloes, one of the competing teams and host of the 2 days competition, affirms readiness. They unveiled their new kit before the competitions.
We have a carnival atmosphere, we have an entertainment zone, we have an eatery area, so we're going to have a park, an entertainment park. We have a large screen that will be showing all the games live. Yeah, so people can come in and enjoy themselves over the 2 days. It will be really a carnival atmosphere. The tournament is, the partnership with Toyota.
We come to the end of this first edition of UBC News tonight. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Michael Jordan Lukomwa with Mohammed Mugalu and the whole team. We'll catch you at 10 p.m. with a bigger arrangement as we wind up the night. For now, enjoy the next program. Bye-bye.
A good school doesn't tolerate violence against children.
Because a good school equals a better life.
Raising voices.
As we celebrate this year's World Food Day, the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, in partnership with Food